think it is helpful to have an entry-level offer. Something smaller that allows people to get in your world, experience how you work, and begin building a relationship with you. Welcome back to another episode of the Quiet Leaders podcast. Today I want to talk about something that I see a lot with behind the scenes leaders, operators, OBMs, VAs, project managers, and integrators. And it's that we have this tendency to create way too many offers. Because the reality is we are pretty skilled. We know how to do a lot of things. So our brains naturally start going, should I offer VIP days? Should I offer strategy sessions? Should I do project management, launch management, tech setup, metrics dashboards, systems implementation, funnels, hourly package? And before we know it, we've built a business with 17 different offers that all require separate marketing, separate conversations, separate sales processes, and separate delivery structures. And this can become exhausting. When you build your business around these type of offers, you're constantly having to stay in that selling mode. Or you have to always be networking and marketing, looking for the next project, trying to fill your pipeline again. And it gets really confusing for your ideal clients on what you actually do, because you're offering so many different things and they're not sure what they need, right? And what I found, both for myself going through this and the people I support, is that having all these different offers doesn't usually create the freedom that most of us actually want. And we're really looking for that sustainability. And what creates sustainability and freedom is the retainer model, or what I like to call the quiet leader model, which you've all heard before. Now, this is where you support 2 to 3 clients on a deeper level as their strategic partner instead of constantly trying to sell one-off services or trying to market different things that you do. And now I do want to say this because I think it's important. I'm not saying you should only ever have one single offer. That is not what I'm saying here. But what I do recommend is having one core offer, one signature offer that people know you for. Your bread and butter offer, your primary way of working with clients, your main business model. And for me, that's retainers and long-term strategic partnerships. Now, alongside that, I do think it is helpful to have an entry-level offer. Something smaller that allows people to get in your world, experience how you work, and begin building a relationship with you. For example, what I do is I offer 2-hour strategic planning sessions. And these have actually led to retainers down the road. Now, one client that I've worked with, she waited about a year after our strategy session before we started working together long-term. And another person came back 6 months after we did the planning session. And that's the beauty of having a small offer. It kind of becomes your downsell as well. If someone's not quite ready to do the retainer, you can do a planning session with them because that may be all they need as well. But what it does is gives them that ability to start working with you and building that relationship. Because as I said, not everyone may be ready for the retainer immediately, or it could be a good place to start just because you may not know what the heck they need. And if you're really like, I have no idea what this person needs, then you can move to something like this first before going into that whole partnership. Because again, someone may still want support, they may still want that guidance, and they may still want to experience working with you. And sometimes people do need that smaller first step before they fully commit. And it goes both ways too. As I said, you may want that smaller step before you go full in with this person. So I think the sweet spot here is you have your one core retainer offer and then one smaller entry-level offer. And that's it. That is it. Now, You can still have things like VIP days or implementation projects in your back pocket. Absolutely. I'm not saying these things are wrong. Because if someone does come to you and wants a focused one-day intensive, great. If someone specifically needs implementation, great. But those should not be the primary thing that you're constantly trying to market and sell. Now, it is a different story if that's the direction you want to go. There are many coaches who focus specifically on just doing a VIP day type of model, and that's totally great too. You can do that. But as behind the scenes leaders, I find that the retainer is the best match because we don't have to constantly try and market and sell something. That's what those types of offers require. And you don't develop that deeper partnership with people, which I love to do. So again, those should not be the primary thing you're constantly trying to market and sell. You can have them like in your back pocket, or what I like to do is after I talk with somebody, the goal is to like get them into the retainer. However, I have come across some situations where I'm like, actually, like, let's do a VIP day kind of situation. So you're not actively selling it. You're still selling your core offer, but it may come up that like, actually this person just needs to take a day out of their calendar to sit down and do the thing. So that can definitely happen too. So always lead with the core retainer, always lead with the partnership, and always lead with the outcomes. And honestly, you shouldn't even be spending most of your time talking about the offer itself anyway. Now, this is the key here. This is the trick. You shouldn't be talking about your offer. Instead, you should be talking about the transformation your clients get, the results you get them, the problems you solve, the support you provide, and the experience of working together, what it feels like when somebody hires you, how you take off so much off their plate and you're that breath of fresh air, you're that calm to the chaos. Then, once someone is interested and you understand their needs, you then figure out the best structure. So we're not even like, you don't even need to have any offers. Like, we're just talking about what you can do for someone, that transformation. And then once you understand someone's needs, then you can figure out the structure, right? Now that's the best part here is you don't even need to know how you're going to work with somebody. Simply just know the outcome that you could provide. That's it. So if someone says, I'm not quite ready for ongoing support, then you can move into that smaller offer. This is a much more sustainable way to build a premium business. Now, usually when I talk about retainers, people do kind of start panicking and thinking, but what if I do too much? What about scope creep? How do I know what I should even be doing inside the retainer? And this is exactly why having a framework matters. Because you should not be randomly waking up every day wondering what to do for your clients. The work should be guided by strategy. And this is why I teach strategic planning and my 5-phase integrator framework inside the integrator certification program. Because the framework tells you what needs attention. So again, back to retainers. I get all the time, well, I don't know, what do I do in my retainer? Like, what if I do too much? All the things, right? I've only ever done hourly. That's where the framework comes in. And the framework is going to tell you what you should be doing. So first, you understand the vision, right? You understand where they're going. Then we create the annual goals. Then we narrow down into the next 90 days. And inside that 90-day plan is where your priorities become clear. That is what determines the work inside the retainer. We're not doing random tasks here. We're not doing busy work. We're not constantly reinventing things. The strategic plan tells you what matters most right now, right? Because we have, as behind the scenes leaders, we have this tool belt full of all of our skills. And that's why we get caught in so many offers, because we can do so many things. Like we know how to do all these things. But the beauty of a retainer is that we get to tap into all these things when the time is right. Because what's beautiful about this model is that your actual work is going to shift from season to season. So for example, in Q1 of this year, a lot of my work was funnel building. We were creating systems, implementing funnels, and building back-end infrastructure. Then in Q2, which we're in right now, the focus shifted more into project management, data review, client experience, launching events, hosting challenges, and stabilizing operations. The work changes, but the partnership remains. And that's the magic of this model. That is why I love this so much, because I am very multi-passionate and I get to use all of my skills with my clients. It's just depending on the 90-day plan is when I get to bring these skills to fruition, right? So we don't have to think about, oh, I need to add on another package so that my clients can hire me to do this. Like, no, you just have an ongoing long-term retainer, and depending on the priorities, that's what you pull out of your toolbox. So again, we're not selling specific tasks here. We're selling strategic partnership and outcomes. And because we have a full toolbox of skills, we're able to pull out the right tools depending on what the business needs in that season. Because maybe your strength is systems. Maybe it's tech. Maybe it's AI. Maybe it's SEO. Maybe it's launches. Maybe it's operations. Maybe it is marketing strategy. And all those things become assets within the partnership. And that's why I truly believe most behind-the-scenes leaders do not need more offers. Instead, they need that clearer positioning, strong partnerships, strategic frameworks, and a simpler business model. And this allows you to create the most impact for your clients. Because what you're doing is you're coming together to form the strategic partnership. You have the visionary, right, on one side, where they're building something, they're providing a service, whatever their business is. They are the idea generator. They're the one who's kind of leading the vision. But then you come in with all your different skills and tools that you have, and you get to help them create that. And that's the beauty of it. And what happens is this energetic alignment of, yes, there's a monetary alignment here where they're going to be paying you for retainer. And now, again, you're going to eventually, if you work with someone long enough, you're going to eventually develop a flow where you're no longer even thinking about hours and how much time you spend. Because if you're working with the right aligned clients, it's not going to feel like work, and you're going to want to help them. You're going to want to make that impact. And you get to do that because you don't have to worry about asking them for more money to do A, B, C. Now, you may have to hold yourself back a little bit and check yourself, because normally we do often overgive. But I promise you, doing the littlest things, your clients are going to be blown away. Like, they really are. And these are all things that we discuss inside the certification program. Is what it looks like when you're working with your clients, evaluating how it feels, because we should feel in flow. It should feel easy, but also challenging enough to where we're fulfilled. Now, I could keep going down this tangent for a long time, but I do want to talk about another thing that I recommend, which is starting with a 3-month retainer. Because one, it gives you enough time to create momentum and results. So at a minimum, start working with someone for 3 months. Require 3 months because it's going to give you time to create momentum and results. And two, it allows both of you to better understand the true level of support needed. Because with a retainer, if you jump fully into the retainer to start, you really don't know until you're in someone's business, right? So the 3-month kind of protects you from that. You do kind of an entry-level intro offer with this person. And at the end of the 3 months, you decide, do we need to increase support? So do I need to increase my retainer price? Do we keep it the same? Do we shift priorities? Because sometimes the visionaries think they need, or what they want is not what they need, right? And when you truly find aligned clients, the people whose mission you genuinely believe in, something really interesting happens, which I already mentioned this a little bit. You stop obsessing over hours. You stop nickel and diming your time. You stop tracking every tiny little thing. And instead, you're going to build systems, rhythms, processes, and that trust together. And eventually, you just get to wake up and do work you genuinely enjoy while being consistently compensated for the partnership. That's the model that I've built. That's the quiet leader model. You're just having 2 to 3 aligned partnerships where you get to wake up and enjoy what you do. And of course, too, as we know, sometimes it's a little more time to set up the system, but once the system's running and you become efficient, then it's just easier, right? Now, another thing to consider is with a retainer, these are long-term partnerships. Now, my longest standing client, we've been together over 4 years. So it's 4 years of a consistent retainer coming in every month. Now, we have to factor like that goes a longer way. Having that sustainability and that longer term commitment goes a lot longer than trying to sell a higher, like an even higher ticket offer for a shorter amount of time, if that makes sense. So I'm willing to put in the work to be efficient and to help them grow because it's this long-term thing and we can grow together. This is the Quiet Leaders model, and I wish more behind the scenes leaders knew this was possible. Because again, we get so stuck in what my offer should be and making it perfect because we don't need to hustle our way through 27 tiny offers to build a sustainable business. Instead, you can build a quiet, spacious, deeply impactful business through a few aligned long-term partnerships. And from there, you get to decide what's next. When you're fully booked, maybe then you decide to scale. Maybe you build a team. Maybe you do then create additional offers. Or maybe you stay exactly where you are because you loved your life, right? Because that's okay too. So if you're listening to this and thinking, yes, this is exactly what I want, then I would love to support you. You can book a call with me through the link in the show notes, and we can talk about what building your version of the Quiet Leader model would look like. All right. Thank you so much for another episode of the Quiet Leaders podcast. I will see you on the next one.